Hey guys, welcome back. So we made it to this weekend's adventure. As you can see over here is the tip of Mount Hood. That is the summit right there. Not too far, but I'm gonna lay low around this area. So what are we gonna do today? We are gonna test out a budget tent, a budget 4-season tent. It's the Opalus 3 by NatureHike. Now the reason why I came out to this area where it's kind of open is because I wanted to test its wind resistance. Right now the winds are not too strong, but later this evening the winds are supposed to be between 20 to 35 miles per hour, but we'll see. Normally if you do tent camp in the mountains or in the snow, you want to be surrounded by trees to kind of absorb the wind and not be blown away by the wind. But what I'm doing here today is just testing the wind strength, so that is why I'm just in this open area. So we got about 2 hours of sunlight left, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna hustle and set up this tent, and I'll get back to you guys. Now I would like to mention that I did take my jacket off on the way up. I just took off that outer layer because I start to sweat and I took a break, because you definitely do not want to sweat. So that's why layers are very important. So underneath I have my base layer again, my synthetic mid layer, and my outer shell layer, which I tied around under the hood of my backpack. So yeah, also what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to flatten it out. Instead of having loose snow right under the tent, I'm like stomping on it with the snowshoes to make it more compact and solid. Alright guys, so I got this thing all set up. Now I do have some extra guidelines that I'm going to set up in a little bit, but since it's starting to get dark, I'm just going to go and give you guys a tour right now real quick. By the way, I just want to give you a little perspective. That is the summit of Mount Hood over there. Not too far actually. Anyway, so as you can see, we got this lined out on this side and on this side, and then I am going to attach those guidelines and these additional ones. And then I have the doors open right now just for a cross breeze right now, and let's check it out inside. So as you can see, when I dug it out earlier, I had all this space that I'm using. So over here I made a seat. The foot area is right over here. It's dug in deeper. This is the Optimist Stove, and we have it attached to the fuel canister over there, and I have it upside down because it's going to be cold. And before I go to sleep at night, I'm going to probably bring that into the sleeping bag with me to keep it warm. And then in here I have a pot, a non-stick pot, and then a grab handle for the pot. I got my drinks getting cold over here, and then this is my cup for the coffee, and inside I got something wrapped up in a napkin. So that I'm going to show you guys later. It's like my little, I guess it's like a little hack for me, so stay tuned for that. And then my water is over there, and then also of course I'm going to melt the snow if I need more additional water. Over on that side is my sleeping bag. I got my jacket over here, and then that's my clothes in there. I got some batteries, my lamp, I got an emergency blanket just in case, and then I got food in here, and I'll show you guys that later when I cook. And then just in these pockets I just store like the bags for the tent stakes, the tent poles, the tent, and everything like that. And then as for the sleep system here, of course I brought a pillow. Doesn't weigh much, doesn't take that much in a pack when I roll it up, and it's comfortable for me. And on the outside I have the military sleep system Gore Tex Bivy. And the reason I brought the Gore Tex Bivy is because top half is mesh. I'm not certain if there's going to be condensation or if it's going to leak. And if it does leak, I don't want it to wet my sleeping bag because my sleeping bag is down. So I brought that Gore Tex just to shield it from the wetness. Also, if this tent does fail for whatever reason, I don't want anything that was wet up there to make contact with the down sleeping bag. So I have this as a layer of protection. So underneath the bivy, I have my Thermarest insulated sleeping pad. And then inside the bivy, I also have another air inflatable sleeping pad for additional comfort. And then I have my 15-degree down sleeping bag. So that is my sleep system tonight. and this should keep me toasty warm. Right off the bat, something I noticed that this tent didn't have that normal Four Seasons tents should have is a snow skirt. So in the outside of this vestibule, there should be a skirt so that you can pile snow on top, but this one didn't come with it. My suggestion to Nature Hike would be to add snow skirts to this Four Seasons tent so that we can pile snow on top. And the reason why you want to pile snow on top here is for two reasons. One, it's to shield the inside vestibule of the tent from snow that's blown in case there's strong breeze and gusts. So when it blows in, sometimes the snow gets blown into the vestibule and even into the inner tent. So that's what the snow skirt will do if you cover it up with snow. And also when you pile snow like this on top of the vestibule, it makes it a little bit more of a stable foundation against wind. So if there was no skirt and I didn't put snow up here, these vestibule ends would be flapping when there's strong wind gusts. So that is just a suggestion. All right, guys, everything's set up. I'm getting a little hungry, so why don't we cook something? Yeah. All right, guys, so we got dinner in this bag tonight. So let's see what's inside. Before I show you what's inside, I want to talk about what I got in there. The theme for tonight is going to be kind of like budget Korean style cooking. We got the Korean ramen here. It's a spicy noodle. Gonna get my body temperature up. So we got the spicy noodle, and then we're gonna have that with single serving packets of Spam. And then I also got some green onions, and this is for later. After I eat this, if I'm still hungry, I'm gonna have some beef jerky. Now this is the very spicy one. I love spicy everything, so that's what I have for as a snack. And then I have a Pro Bar. This is a banana nut bread. It's gonna be tomorrow's breakfast. Remember in that cup earlier, in that titanium cup, there was that napkin right here? Now this is a little camp pack type thing that I did. Now this is for coffee tomorrow, so I'm not gonna need this tonight. And in this napkin, or actually paper towel, I've wrapped a brown egg. Yes, I wrapped a brown egg. It's not cracked. It's all in one piece, and I'm gonna add that to tonight's recipe. All right, so let's get this started. Put this knife away. Oh yeah, by the way, the beer today is the Suicide Squeeze IPA. It's a special edition IPA from Fort George. And as you guys may know, Fort George is one of my favorite breweries. And I'm gonna have one of that. Maybe two, we'll see. Korea have a saying, it's similar to bon appetit. We'll say 잘 먹겠습니다. So in this cold weather, we're gonna have some spicy ramen. Oh! So here's the nighttime setup. So that's the seat. So where the water is, it's lower. I dug in deeper over there for my feet. That's the seat area. You can see I dug it in, so I could just, that could be like my backrest. And that's about it, guys. So I guess it's story time. This meal today actually was inspired by my friend Kevin. So Kevin is a friend I've known for a good amount of time now, and he was all into the outdoors and everything like that way before I was. And so about a little over 8 years ago, he took me on my very first, he took actually a group of us on our very first backpacking trip. And my backpacking trip, my first one, we hiked to the top of Mount Baldy, which is a little over 10,000 feet in elevation. And we spent the night at the top of Mount Baldy over there. So how we did it was, I didn't have any gear because, you know, I'm still a newbie and I don't have any experience. I didn't buy any gear. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So I went to REI, rented out a backpack, a sleeping bag, and a sleeping pad. And then we just drove to Mount Baldy, hiked it to the top. I also actually rented out hiking poles. Hiked to the top, and then the way we camped it was at the summit. We laid down our sleeping pad and our sleeping bag behind some rocks that were stacked up to deflect the wind. And that's pretty much all. That's pretty much how we slept that night. And it was crazy because, you know, as a first-time backpacker, to experience something like that was a little extreme for me, but you know, it was a good experience. I definitely want to do that again. And the meal we had up at the summit before going to sleep was actually spicy ramen, or that's what I had anyways. And before coming onto this trip, I talked to Kevin about it, and he, you know, he had this Instagram story where he made this ramen mixed with black bean noodles and stuff. I thought it was freaking, I'm gonna try that, but I asked him about it, and then eventually, basically, the conversation led to me making this Korean style ramen at camp tonight. So yeah, so this is a shout out to Kevin. This is a good meal. So that is the guy that got me all into the outdoors and backpacking, and that was 8 years ago. Time flies, man. I mean, it just feels like last year that's when that happened. You know, you might think putting Spam in a soup like this, soup style, is disgusting, but nah. Myself, and I'm sure other people who have tried it this way, will tell you that it's freaking delicious, especially if you like Spam. Alright guys, just wanted to give you a little update on what's going on. So I cleaned up around the tent in my area, took off my shoes, got inside the tent, and in a little bit I'm gonna take off this mid layer, the insulating layer, and take off my pants. I am going to shed this into this, my middleweight base layer, and go into the sleeping bag. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention, it's about 30 degrees Fahrenheit, a little bit below 0 Celsius. So if you're wondering what the temperature is like in here so far, that's where it's at. It's below freezing right now. Alright guys, I woke up a little while back. It was still dark out. I didn't want to record inside the tent because I'd have to put the flashlight against my face and it would look like I'm gonna tell a scary story. So I opted to just take some footage out here, take some shots and some video. And yeah, that's about it. As you can see, it's gorgeous out here in the morning. The sleep system worked really well. The tent, as you can see, is still in one piece. So periodically the wind would gust and blow pretty hard. And then when I would grab my camera, it would just kind of die down. So I tried to capture as much of it as I could. But yeah, it's just elusive. But you know, I was hoping for crazy windstorm all night long so that I could fully test the capability of this. But you know, when it comes down to it, this tent in winter camping, for the most part, I guess it's decent. I mean, not many people are going to be camping in a blizzard. Usually for a majority of people who need 4-season tents, who are camping out in, you know, environments like these, Usually they'll be huddled under between trees and stuff like that. And even if not, so far it's been capable of withstanding what I've been subjected to so far. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pack up my gear inside, take it outside of the tent, and I'm gonna put this tent through one other test. All right, so I'll catch you guys later. All right, as you can see, let me get rid of all right, so as you can see, for the most part, did a good stand of withstanding the pounding from the snow. Now realistically, when it snows, it's not going to fall in big chunks like that, but I just wanted to take it to the extreme and see how it would handle it. As you can see, it's a guide out. Not all the guidelines are guide out even, and I try to match it from the rooftop, and because of the shape of this tent, it basically just kind of slides it down from the top down the side because of the arch. Yeah, so I know that was very short testing, but I'm impressed. So basically for right now, I will tell you a couple of the cons with this tent. One is it didn't have the snow skirt, so I had to makeshift like a snow wall. And second, because there was so much mesh inside in the inner tent, the inside of the tent did not do a good job of somewhat retaining heat. So if you look at other four season tents, they will somewhat retain heat in the tent because it's all nylon polyester material with barely any mesh. But aside from that, I really can't say anything else bad about it so far. So far so good. So this is about 6 pounds, fits 3 people. As you can see, the vestibule is enormous. And when you saw yesterday when I dug inside the vestibule, I'm able to stand inside the vestibule area because, you know, I dug in about 3 feet down. With that said, so now I'm gonna pack this one up, pack it into my backpack, and head back to the trailhead. I want to thank you all for joining me. All my loyal old subscribers and all the newcomers that have subscribed to my channel, welcome. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to give it a thumbs up if you liked it, a thumbs down if you didn't. Tell me why. I love reading your comments down below. I hope you're all having a happy new year. We have a live stream set at Sunday at 5 o'clock. Thanks for joining me again. I wish you all the best. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you guys next time.